When I found out that the human brain has 100 billion neurons, and each neuron has 10,000 connections. When I found out that the number is exponentially greater than all of the stars in the universe, that each human brain has the potential to create infinite possibilities.
Knock him out the box, Rick. Knock him out, Rick. Knock him out the box. I really want to tell I want you to tell your story, and I want to facilitate that.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's something you've ever done before on a podcast, like literally talk about yourself as a person, how you developed, how you got to be who you are, like what made you Dr. Chill, who, by the way, I see you as, a medical doctor and a spiritual doctor. And you're like this spiritual sage, cool, like mystical dude that's like a legend in the music and art game. Right? Mm-hmm. But not somebody I think outside of maybe that circle necessarily knows yet, but at a young 77 about to jump
right
on the explode onto the scene, because it's like you've had that foundation throughout your life. You have super successful offspring.
Yes.
Like I want to know how you created successful offspring, right? Like what did you do to allow them to be the artists they are, mm-hmm. and to express themselves freely the way they can and be themselves? Because I see they're pretty expressive and open. That's something that isn't really happening enough. So I want to hear all that.
Okay.
But tell us, maybe we got this music playing in the background.
So the song playing right now is a song I wrote. It's called Twin Flame. And for those of you who don't know, a twin flame is like the exaltation of, people talk about the soulmates. A twin flame is the person that you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life. Generally, speaking, it's the greatest lover that you've ever had or that you're ever going to have. You only get one. And I actually met someone in a restaurant the day after Janae's album release party of Chilombo in 2020. So as she's leaving, we're eating breakfast and our eyes locked. And she said, I was just looking at you. I didn't know who you were. And I was just on IG. So, we exchanged looks, and I finally, we finally met outside of that particular situation. So she just inspired me to write the song, called Twin Flame. And, that's the result.
So you've got new music coming out with Rhythm soon, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, all during the pandemic, I've been putting music out, singles, books, and so on and so forth. And then I started to hit a dry spell because I was, music is an art, but it's also a business. And the art always does well. The business doesn't necessarily always do well. So I sort of took a break. And I decided that I wanted to work with an amazing producer. I didn't know who or where the person would come from. I sort of sat back in the cut. And I met Rhythm. And, he said he did music. I said, okay, well, I'll try you out and let's, see what happens. And it turns out that we're like a perfect match, working together, same vibration. So we decided that we would do an EP, and I would call it Chilling with Rhythm. And I've decided on 6 songs. In 2 weeks, we wrote 6 songs. And now we're in the process of just mixing, mastering, and setting up treatments for the various videos that we're going to do. We're going to do, 6 different videos. 3 of the songs are what we call spoken word, and 3 are I'm actually, singing. And when my daughters have heard it, they go like, Daddy, I didn't know you could sing like that. I said, I've been singing all my life. I've been singing since I was 11
They didn't know you had it in you.
Well, no.
You never focused on your art?
Well,
like singing?
They actually knew, but, I put a song out. I wrote a song called I Wish Our Love Could Have Lasted Forever. I wrote it 35 years ago. I just put that out in 2018, and it sounded the same.
35 years ago, you put out the song, and then you re-released it in 18?
Well, I wrote it 35 years ago. I never actually put it out for the public.
Yeah.
And I can still hit the same notes now as I did then. Most singers can't do that. Your voice changes a whole lot over 35 years. But I was blessed, and then We shot the video, and it was really, to me, it was a culmination because I wrote it the year my son Miyagi was born, 1986. He has since passed, so I had to get it out because it was like it was like sort of in a way it's reminds me a lot of him in terms of the dates of the song, and I had to put that out for, if nothing else, for my for my legacy and for his remembrance, and I just
So wait, this is
I've always
tell
loved
us
music.
wait, what is it? Your first son?
Yeah, no, he was my third son, Miyagi.
Yeah.
He was born in 1986. I have an older son
Yeah.
who turns 50 this year. My second son is turning 36 this year, and Miyagi would have been no. My second son is turning 37. Miyagi would have been 35. And he was probably my most talented child.
How old was he when he passed?
Yes, he passed from brain cancer in 2012. He passed
was
12
30.
days after his birthday, after his
So he was
26th
like
birthday.
32. He was like what, 32?
No, he passed at 26.
26.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was, I'll tell you, it was real hard, because he had he battled cancer for 2 years, and we watched him go down very slowly,
Right.
and he had enrolled in school to make films, and then he got the diagnosis and kind of crushed his dream, and he would have been a great filmmaker. He would have been a great, podcaster, anything to do with media, or games, he was super talented, and then he got snatched from us,
Yeah.
But, we still communicate on a spiritual level.
Right.
I always tell people, when you constantly think of somebody, that's their spirit telling you, I'm still here, because I'm a firm believer that when the body dies, the consciousness goes on, and the consciousness is in the ether, and the ether is everywhere.
I think that is extremely possible. Yeah,
Mhm.
like it was so many unexplained things, man. So much of what happens in this world is just moving balls of energy, man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We don't really know what goes on, what
Well,
happens.
I feel like all is energy, and Einstein said music is everything. I say music is everything. Energy is everything. It's in the spheres. As a matter of fact, they have found, NASA has done some deep probe into space. They've heard the sounds that John Coltrane and Charlie Parker were putting out years ago. They're picking up those signals now. Years ago, music is in the celestial spheres. It just is, Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I guess like I would love to get to know you better,
Yes, sir.
right? Personally,
Okay.
because I really like understanding people and what their story is, what they've gone through, what were their defining moments, and really like because I think we're all trying to find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we find ourselves, we're evolving with ourselves because
Exactly.
we're always changing anyway. So
Exactly.
you're always looking like, okay, what's next? What's the next challenge? What do I need to learn? Whatever it is, right? How do I express myself? So like, what's your story? Like, where did it all start? How did you become who you are today? Which people that see you now, they see sort of an iconic, mysterious person a little bit, right? Because they don't know all the volumes of books you've been through in your life. Your life has been probably like
Right.
dozens of volumes of like books you could write just about that, right? So like, how did you get here? How did you become this identity, man? This spiritual person. You were a doctor, you practiced, and
Right.
you're the spiritual guide for a lot of like artists and musicians, and for everybody really, and a positive force.
When I was born in Ohio, 1944, during a blizzard, I was always reminded to say, you were born during a
Nice.
blizzard.
Dr.
And,
J.
blizzards are very harsh, condition. So I came into life in a harsh way,
Right, and in a chilly world.
in a very chilly world. I was the third child of my mom. I had an older brother and an older sister, and I came into the world in 1944. during the blizzard. I was a big baby. I was almost 9 pounds, and I was 24
Damn.
inches. 24 inches. To give you a perspective on that, 24 inches, 1944, would be like 28 inches today.
Wow.
Almost 9 pounds then would be like 15 pounds a day. So I was a big baby. I still have my 2-week-old shoes that my mother saved. My foot was big. My foot
You
was
had a
very
lot.
big.
You had a lot to give.
I was given, I was given a lot.
Exploded onto the world.
So I was born in a town called Lincoln Heights, Ohio.
Okay.
Lincoln Heights was a town that was built for the families of black servicemen. You remember we're talking the 40s and 50s, a lot of segregation, okay? You can fight for us, but you got to be separated and segregated, right. Okay? So I knew nothing about race at all. I mean, the town was 99.9% black, and then there was a family that was mixed with black and white. Then there was our family. Nobody knew who we were. We didn't know who we were. Then there was a family that was black and Mexican. And those three families, we were the oddballs, but, we all loved each other, and people took care of each other. And if you got in trouble, everybody spanked your butt. And when you got home, you got another spanking. Everybody looked out for everybody, It was really a we thing. It was very much a we thing, back during the day. Then in 1954, 10 years later, we moved to a town called Cincinnati. And that was the bigger town that Lincoln Heights was attached to. And that's when I first encountered, the N-word. I like, that's wrong. What's the N? I don't know. I don't know what that was. People call me. I said, what is that?
So wait, how old are you here now?
10.
10.
Interesting. And but
same kind of. I had the same kind of experience because we immigrated here from Ukraine when I was 4, and we lived like across the street from projects, and we were in townhomes, and I was a latchkey kid, so I just ran the neighborhood. So I didn't even know what race was. I was in every neighborhood, at everyone's house all day long. My parents didn't really know where I was anyway. And until I was like 10 did I start seeing how, especially as kids got older, they got more pressure from their parents to go, don't hang out with, so-and-so or whatever.
Right. But at the age of 8, when I was still living in Lincoln Heights, I started a job as a paperboy. And I earned money so I could go to school. I went to a Catholic school called, it was called Martin de Porres. Martin de Porres was a black man in Lima, Peru, who was attributed to be in 2 places at one time. He has since become a saint in the Catholic Church. And I went to that school. And like I said, in order to go to school, you had to pay money. So I got a job, and I paid for my education. And ever since I was in the 2nd grade, I paid for my education. So when we moved to Cincinnati, I went to another school. It's called St. Andrews, and from the 3rd grade on, there I graduated. At the 8th grade, again, I worked selling papers, and after that, I graduated in 1958 from the 8th grade. I went to it was 1959. Then I went to a high school called Roger Bacon. Again, I worked to pay for my high school education. After I finished my high school education,
you worked to pay for your high school education. Was it a private school?
I worked to pay for my private school education. It was a Catholic.
It was a private school education, and you paid for it.
It was a Catholic high school. It was.
Wait, how many hours a week did you work? Just curious.
Well, let me see. I had to pay. The tuition was $50 a month, so I had to work. Now we're talking in 1960s.
Yeah, back then that's a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
$50 a month. That's a lot of money. That would be more like.
Right. That's like $1,000 a month.
No, that'd be like $500-$600 a day, every month to go to school. You have to work to go to school. And I worked at a grocery store, cut meat. I was a box boy. I was a cashier. Whatever they needed me to do, clean the toilet, mop the floors, stack the shelves, cut meat, be on the cash register. Whatever they needed me to do, I did. And I many times I had to walk to school, which is about 2 miles away because I didn't have enough money for car fare because everything I made was paying for my education or paying for the assistance.
So did your parents
That needed-
encourage you to go to the private school, or you decided, no, I need to go to this private school?
My mother wanted us to go to the private schools. you know.
Okay. So they kind of
yeah.
guided you.
Right. Well, my mom was a single mom, and she guided me and encouraged me, but I had to do the work. I had to,
Right.
I had to do the physical
like,
work.
I'm just curious. Like, did she say, all right, here's what's going to happen. You go into this private school and you're going to go get a job. You're going to earn your pay, and then you're going to give it to the school. Or was it like, how did that come about?
No,
Or
it
you
was
just said,
no,
"Let's
it
do
was. She wanted us to go to private school, but she worked to take care of us, and so there was no money that she had to contribute. So if I
Right.
wanted to continue to go into a private school, I was going to have to work,
Yeah.
and I had no problem. I've never had any problem working. Never had any problem learning.
Did you
I always
want to go to
learned
private school?
I
Like, were
wanted
you-
to learn in the best situation, and having gone through the Catholic grade school, knowing how my friends' education was, you could tell that I had a better education. So I wanted to continue in that vein.
So do you think that was an important like differentiator for you?
Right. And plus, also there was more discipline in the Catholic schools. You couldn't be late. You had to wear uniforms. You had to uphold a certain standard of grades, or else, if you're flunking, bye-bye, you got to go. And excellence was always my thing.
Yeah.
And plus, I love school. A lot of kids don't love school coming up. I love school. I couldn't wait. I was not one of them kids who were like, I don't want to go to school today. I don't feel good.
So
I'm
that's
tired.
important,
I
'cause- so you
couldn't
loved-
wait. I couldn't wait to go
From
to
the
school.
beginning, you love school.
I couldn't wait to go to school.
Did your parents do something to make you love school, or you just always love school?
I
Do you
always
know?
loved school. As a matter of fact, I was
Think
ready
your
for
mom helped you.
I was ready for
she
the
made it
kindergarten.
positive for you, or you just?
I was ready for the kindergarten at 4. Okay? They held me back. You know why? Because my birthday was in December. If I was born on November the 30th, I would have graduated from high school like my parents did at 16 or 15 or 14. But they held me back because your age. And then
Right.
I was so smart and I was so cute. They're like, I was reading at 3 and 4. I could literally get into an adult conversation. I could also curse you out. Because my grandmother and mother they cursed like sailors. I could cuss you out. I won't say my favorite curse word because you're like, oh my goodness, no, he didn't. But I knew all the curse words. Also, I knew at the age of 4 and 5 what all body parts were for. Every function. People are like, how do you know that? I was curious. I was smart. I would read. I would hear conversation. I would put it together. When I made my first communion at the Catholic Church, you have to make a confession before you have your first communion. I was scared to have my confession because I ate meat on Friday. I took God's name in vain. I had very impure thoughts. I thought I was going to, seriously, I'm 5 years old thinking, when I turn 6, I'm going to have to be in the first grade because that's when you have your first communion. I'm thinking I'm going to die because I violated all God's laws. I took his name in vain so many times. It's the same. I ate meat on Friday so many times. It was the same. I talked in church so many times. It was the same. I violated in my mind, I violated every commandment. I knew all the commandments, I'm sure I violated them all. And I'm thinking back now like, wow, it was amazing. I was one of those, I was a very smart kid and I didn't have any equals around me. Also, I was breastfed till I was 4. Breastfed. So my mother couldn't keep babysitters because she said, son, all the these babysitters, he's too managed. He's too nasty. He's too vulgar. I'm not babysitting that kid. He's going to do things. No, he asked me for some milk, and you know where milk comes from, right? And he like, are you sure you're female? I don't think you're female, I was bad. But I didn't know any better.
Right.
I didn't know any better.
That's okay.
So,
do you think so do you don't cuss anymore? You don't use bad words anymore?
I
that
do
something-
cuss, but I don't curse. The difference is cursing is you're putting a bad smell on somebody.
Uh-huh.
I don't curse, but I do cuss.
Right.
But I cuss in a way that's kind of fun,
Right.
And I have a little,
I believe in that too. I cuss.
I have a little cadence to it,
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't sure because
I'm funny with it.
you rarely say bad words.
Right,
quote
right.
unquote.
Well,
that's why I'm just curious.
when I'm with my homies, we're doing
Yeah.
music, and we're in a private situation.
Well, you can
You know.
hear, by the way. Like, I don't judge that, and my
Right.
kids and I have no
Right.
filter
Right.
because I think words are just words.
Right.
It's
And
like you
of course,
said, I
our
love what you
children-
said, cursing. Like, I tell my kids, you don't have to use bad words to like be really mean to somebody. Bad words are not what's mean; it's how you say it. You
Right.
you can make somebody feel so small without using bad words.
Exactly. It's the energy behind what you say.
You can
Because we
say,
say
you know what
something,
you are.
you're casting a spell.
You are the smallest. You're the most insignificant. Who
Exactly.
cares about? You don't need to use bad words.
Exactly.
So who cares
Exactly.
about the F word, man? Just use it in a positive way.
Right.
I would just tell my kids, don't cuss in front of other adults
Right.
because
Well-
you're gonna get in trouble. Like if it's me, it's okay. So when they were home, everyone else thought they were like angels. All of their
Exactly.
friends' parents would be like, "Oh, Miles is such a like nice boy. He never cusses." I'm like, We'd be
Right.
like, "Good job, man."
Right.
But never filtered that.
And then today, language is changing. So a word you would say 10 years ago, people get on you. Now it's like nobody even hears it. A perfect example is the word ain't. We couldn't say ain't. You couldn't write ain't back in the day. Now it's part of the vocabulary.
Right.
You couldn't say the B word. Now women say it all the time. You couldn't say the F word. Now people use it all the time.
Right.
And so, it sort of depends on the timing, and also it's how you say it. It's how you say it. It's the meaning you put behind it. Like you can say
Absolutely, man.
hello to somebody,
Intentions.
and then you can say hello.
Right.
Wait a minute. Wow, that deflection didn't sound right. That inflection or deflection. And the other thing I want to say, English is a very contextual language. You see, in other languages, if something goes up or down, the same word, different meanings, and only those meanings, period. In English, bad could be good could be bad.
Right.
Hello could be goodbye could be hello. It's very contextual.
Right. Even saying "fuck you" could mean a lot of different things. It could be
Right.
like "fuck you," like
Right.
like,
It also
don't
depends
be
on what
silly.
part of the country you're
Or
from, too.
"Fuck you," right? It could
Also depends on-
literally be from 1 to 100.
Also, in America, it depends on what part of the country you're from.
Right.
Something in Detroit would be something totally different in LA. Something in LA would be totally different in Washington State. Something in Washington State would be totally different in Washington, D.C.
Right.
So you have to understand the milieu in which you are in. You have to understand the company that you're keeping. Personally, I try to have the same speaking style no matter where I go. I'm around the president or I'm with you guys. A lot of people, they change up. You see somebody, all of a sudden, they're on a piece of cake.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be how I am all the time with everybody, I may
I think
use
that's appreciated.
I might
overall.
use maybe bigger words in some situations or smaller words, but I'm not going to change the flow of what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not going to change the meaning of what I'm saying.
Right.
And a lot of people all of a sudden they get around certain people and they're like, man, why are you changing? What's up with you? It's like, it's like, oh, you're not good enough to be like
Right.
we used to be. I mean,
Well, that's what it is.
why are you changing?
It's insecurity.
Right,
'Cause
right.
I used to do that too
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger because I was insecure. So I would be like trying to act the way I'm supposed to act at this party.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was a more formal event, a work party. As I got older, I'm serious. I became more and more, even at those occasions, like you said, you adapt because you don't want to make people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, it's a nicer affair. You dress up a little bit, right? But I started leaning more into who I was and actually
Exactly.
found that people liked it better.
Right.
They were like, oh, good. You're not trying to be like formal like us. Like, just be who you are. As long as you're not disrespectful and obnoxious
right.
about it, right?
I think the inner part should always play the bigger part
Right,
because
man.
the outer part, I mean, whether I'm in rags or riches, I'm going to give you the same message. I'm not going to be like, oh, all of a sudden, I'm going to change you. I'm not going to do that. I'm being the same person I am in the presence of a beggar, a thief, or someone who's a multimillionaire,
Man, I'm super big on authenticity
Yes.
right now, especially recently. And I want to talk about it for a minute because it was a little bit of a revelation for me because, well, not a revelation, but I guess here's the thing about authenticity because people talk about it. You can't be authentic if you don't know who you are.
Thank you.
And you can't pretend to be authentic, right? So like that long search for who you are is the first thing, man. And that's easier said than done. But 1,000% worth the search, man. If you can do it, if you're not enslaved, literally shackled down, you must search for it. I think. I think it's worth it, man. Like if you have arms, limbs, abilities, a brain, like search for yourself, man. Search for yourself. Because once you find yourself and you can then you can really be authentic, then really like amazing things can happen.
Right.
Like Steve Jobs was being himself. He was being authentic. You know what I mean? Like Leonard Nimoy, like whoever. You know what I mean? I mean, it's people that are doing their craft that are leaning into who they are. You know, Michael Jordan. Like, you know, whatever it is, if you're doing something you're passionate about, and you're really being yourself, your character, whoever that is, that's when you can really like do your thing, man.
Right.
And honestly, like when you have a job that you're not passionate about, it makes it almost impossible.
Right.
Because it's such a big part of like who you are, your contribution, whatever that is. It could be like your art form or whatever you're doing, you know, whatever you're spending your waking hours doing. You know, if you're a philosopher and a poet, then you should be doing that.
Right.
You should be rapping or writing. If you're a storyteller, then you should be telling your story.
Right.
If at all possible. You got to fight for it, though, because it's not easy.
Yeah, well, you have to tell your story, not somebody else, because if you notice, the people who are very good at what they do, example, in the rap game, a lot of stuff is out now. Those guys, everybody else is writing for them. All they're doing is just delivering somebody else's words, and you can tell. And when you meet the people who say they did what they did, you go like, oh, this is amazing. This is not what's going on, you know. And it's so sad because today, with social media going on, I remember when I first got into social media, I go like, I didn't know so and so had a Rolls Royce. I didn't know so and so lived in the mansion. They said, "Daddy, it's 90% hype." I didn't know. You know, because you know I'm very old school, right? You know, I wasn't raised on the internet. I wasn't raised on social media. I was raised on interpersonal relationships. You know, talk on the phone, talk in person. You know, having fun in the areas where I wanted to have fun. I wasn't with all this stuff going on, and I said, wow. And it's sad because people today are really living a virtual reality, and that's really sad.
Right.
That's extremely sad. You know. I'm just, sometimes, blown away by the things that I see and hear, but I try to just stay focused on what it is I know. Any music that I write, if it's not universal, I don't put it out. I don't curse. I don't desexualize men or women or the culture. I'm very much into a we thing, because I feel that also my authenticity, I try to make it such that I remind everybody that it's a we thing. I'm really big on the we. If I could change the name of America, I would call it America. If I could change the word memory, I would call it we Marie. No man or woman or child, as John Donne would say, is an island. We're all interconnected. We need to understand that, and we need to live in our divinity and not in our humanity, because our divinity is what we really are. Everybody has a beautiful and wonderful soul. Everybody. The worst person in the world, the most racist, obnoxious, idiotic person has a beautiful and wonderful soul. And we have to remember that. Because, the wings of a butterfly affect the wings of a hurricane. The wings of a hurricane affect the wings of a butterfly. It's all interconnected. And I often tell people, I'm into what I call the quantum love movement. And what that is, you don't judge the sun. You don't judge the rain. You don't judge the stars, the air, the water, the land. We don't judge any of that. Why are we judging each other? We didn't make each other. We got everything for free. Why are we judging each other? Why are we letting our humanity stand in the way of our divinity? And I'm going to say that until the day that I transition. Because it's so easy. Trees grow up, leaves go up, right? Sun comes down. I've never heard the sun go, no, I'm not going to shine today. I don't feel like it. I've never heard the wind go, not blowing today. Nope, 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 nope. Never heard the land say too often, I'm not going to be firm today, you know? So who taught us to be literally, in a sense, out of our hearts or out of our minds? You know, that really bothers me because I think a lot has to do with the programming and the contract that some government agencies have made to, you know, I remember there was a time when there was no TV. We listened to the radio. We used our imaginations. We created things. And we had fun. And it was great. And all of a sudden, TV comes around 1950, 54. Things change, you know. All of a sudden, you know, you're seeing these things. You think everybody lives a Cinderella life. No, they don't. You think everything is Disneyland. No, it's not. You know. And I'm like, and I long for those days where you could be yourself, where you could go out and take walks and smell the air, you know, smell the flower. You know, when's the last time most people went up to a flower, just smelled it? You know what they'll do? They'll pick it or they'll buy it. Leave that flower alone. Let it be. Leave those plants alone, you know? And, you know, when you're eating plants, I know a lot of people are vegetarians today. Pray for those plants before you take them. Because when you eat that plant, you're killing that plant. That plant is singing to you. And if you do eat it, take in the song it's giving you. Just don't eat it because, oh, I'm a human and I need plants. That plant has a right to live as well. So take in the melody, take in the harmonies, take in the rhythms of the plant, take in the rhythms of the universe. You know, take it in because it's beautiful. You know, it really is. And I long for that gestalt of the universe. So because it is beautiful. Everything is really beautiful. You know, and it's not how you look at it. That is the way it is. Everything is mathematically perfect. We have to understand that we are the imperfect ones. Don't put our imperfections on perfection. And I don't do that. I don't. I do not put my imperfections on perfection.
Okay, so going back to how you got to this. Like
Okay,
you went to medical
okay.
school. Like go back. Okay, so
Okay.
you love school.
Right.
So what happened with that, and how did
Okay,
a
so
doctor then become, you know,
so
a
coming from Lincoln
spiritual
Heights,
doctor?
you know, by the way, the Ozzy brothers came from Lincoln Heights, so I lived not across the street, but across the sidewalk. Most people don't understand. Most people have no idea across the sidewalk. They don't understand what that is, but it's a beautiful thing. You live in a community, and you go across the sidewalk, and somebody's there, right? So anyway, I was an altar boy, right? And I always was very reverential to everybody, even though I did, you know, some cussing. I was very reverential, and I just wanted to. Since I was raised Catholic, I wanted to serve God, right? And so I wanted to become a brother, you know, up until the age of maybe, I don't know, 14 or 15. And then, you know, I learned about the opposite sex. You know, so women are kind of cute, and I don't think I could be a brother or a priest because I know I'm going to break some vows, you know. However, I didn't start dating until I was 22. So I had this yearning for the spirituality, for the bigger answers, for the bigger meanings. And, you know,
So you were already thinking bigger meaning from a young age.
Yes,
Like you were
yes,
thinking,
yes,
okay,
yeah.
church.
I always tell people I became an adult at 14. When I say that, I mean I was already into the world of politics and into the world of spirituality. I wanted to do something greater. When I was 17, I decided I wanted to become a doctor. I didn't know how I was going to do it because we didn't have any money, and we were very poor. We weren't impoverished, but we were very poor, right? And but I didn't let the dream go. I would say somehow I'm gonna do that. When I was in high school, you know, I won a scholarship to go to a university. In medical school, I was able to get scholarships and loans. But I always was yearning for the spiritual world. I was always, I was the guy that would pierce his ear so I could hear God, or almost. I didn't pierce my nose, but I was going to pierce my nose to smell God. Right. I always wanted to get closer to whatever made the universe, right? I would
Right.
read books.
The
I would
creator,
always,
whatever it is.
right. I was into crystals. I was into, aromatherapy. Anything that I felt would connect me to the source of it all. Always asking questions. Where do we come from? What's the meaning of this? Blah 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 blah. And it came from a religious background, but after I got married, in the Catholic Church, I was eating the body of Christ, the communion, and then they passed the wine back to you. You drink it, and I went to pass the wine back to other people, and she kept passing it back. It's like nobody wanted to drink after me. I go, wait a minute. I'm in San Francisco, the most liberal city in the country, and nobody wants to drink after me? I'm like, and this is the most liberal city, and all these students were all liberal, the Congress was liberal, but I'm not good enough.
Wait, because they were white?
I said, if I'm not good enough.
They were white?
Yes. I'm like, wow. I said, I'm not good enough for them to drink behind me. And I said, okay, that's it. I quit the church. And then I looked at Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, all the isms I looked at. And I said, you know what? It's the same God. It's the same universe. Why are people tripping? Why are people killing in the name of God? Why are people killing in the name of love? They're supposed to be, religious,
right.
But they don't know about the Ten Commandments or all the laws of Ma'at. So I said, you know what? Forget religion. I'm gonna become spiritual. I'm gonna go back to the most ancient roots that I could think of, way before there were any Western or Eastern religions, before there was any concept of religion, and that was spirituality. And spirituality is this cup is alive, it's spiritual. This wood is alive, spiritual. This microphone is alive and spiritual. The air around us is spiritual. The light is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Embrace it all, because I'm part of it all. It's all part of me. So
what does that mean? It's spiritual to you. What does that mean?
It means everything has energy and everything has a purpose. Okay, and out of all the things that are around me and people, I'm the least. I consider myself the least among people, the least among things. This universe soul has imbued me with this spirit of being able to just exist. See, there's existence and then there's life. This is not life, but it exists. So the great existence is here before there's life. But without this existing, I can't be. So I have to love this. I have to be part of it. You know how you walk down the street and you almost fall and you go back and kick the sidewalk? I'm like, that's dumb. The sidewalk didn't do anything to me. I did something to the sidewalk. So what's wrong with me? So you go inside and go, wait a minute. Everything that's out here allows me to be who I am. All the elements, the nitrogen in the air, the oxygen, all the carbon atoms allows me to be me. And I have to embrace that because I'm part of all that, and all that's part of me,
Right.
We're all one, and we're all one, and we all affect each other. So, when I'm driving, somebody cuts me off, I don't get mad anymore because they had a bad day. I'm just making sure that there's going to be no accidents. When I'm driving, I try to say, I don't stay close. I try to stay away from the pack because I want everybody to be cool. I want everything to be fine. I want the spirituality of the moment to be right.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm real big on spirituality because
You
materiality.
embrace everything, man. I do this, like, really, I have evolved into being able to do a lot of what you do. Maybe I think of some things from different angles, like, meaning don't take things personally.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of self-help stuff and that really helped. Like a lot of what you're saying, the logic works from a spiritual explanation, but also from like a logical, because really, when people there's no, it's also like, if you think of this as even possibly a simulation, right? You can say that, well, it's in the game, so embrace it.
Right.
Don't fight it.
Right.
Like, just be the best player you could be, make the impact you can make, you know what I mean? But embrace it all. It's all part of it, right?
Right.
The good makes the bad makes the good.
Right.
Without the bad, there's no good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Decide which part you want to play and embrace it all.
That's kind of where I differ a little bit because
Tell me.
good and bad are human values. I
agree.
I live as
believe in good
divinely
and
as I
bad.
can. And my biggest problem every day is how am I going to get along with my fellow humans? Because most people put everything in their humanity. It's 1% of who you are. And they forget to get to 99%. That's like saying, I want to be in the light, but you realize 99% of the world in the universe is in the darkness. So why are you going to trip on the light? You better trip on the darkness. You acknowledge the light, but don't trip on it. Trip on the darkness. So so I'm telling people, why are you tripping on humanity? You better pay attention to your divinity, because that is what is informing your humanity. So I get away from, the value judgments, good or bad, too much rain, too little
honestly,
rain,
me
too
too.
much sun,
I don't
too
believe
little
in good
sun.
and evil.
I don't
we're
like
all
the
just-
human condition. I try to stay away from it as much as possible, man. Really. I know I'm human, and I acknowledge that. But I acknowledge more the divinity, man. That's why I keep telling people, change the narrative. Because if you change it, we can all be Mother Teresa. We can all have everything we want. We can all be the most rich people in the world. The richest person is on the inside, Just because you don't have a bank account with $1 billion doesn't mean you're not a billionaire. Right. I'm a billionaire in my heart. I'm a heartthrob. And the other thing too is I don't do the mind thing, because as you understand, you think you're seeing colors. You don't see colors, because atoms don't have colors. You don't see things this way. You see things this way. You see, the mind tricks the brain. And I understand that. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking at everybody here right now, I've never seen you as you are. You're recorded on my retina as a virtual image. I know you're real, but I see you virtually. I hear you virtually. I smell you virtually. I taste and touch you virtually.
Right.
And then when I'm on the phone with you, that's another thing. And then we're going to virtual reality. So it's 3 or 4 more things. And, we're getting further and further and further away from what is real. What is real is the soul power. It's the key power. It's the chi power. Everything else is an illusion, man. It's an illusion. So understand that it's an illusion. Understand your divinity. Make it better as best as you can be, and give your we power back to other people. I know people onto these pronouns now. When I say we, I don't mean we in a gender sense. I mean we in a general sense. Okay, I'm talking the general we, not the gender we. Okay, Right. And I think it's very, very important, because you change the narrative. You got to change the narrative. The narrative is going to make all the difference in the world. It's like I made a new word up called beautiful. People, what is that? It's the flow of beauty. You change the narrative. Not something is beautiful. Everything is beautiful flow. And it's not that I have rose-colored glasses on. I am telling people to embrace all of what you are. Not what you told you are, not what you believe you are, but understand, understand what you are. It's very important. Some ancient guy says, first know thyself. And the 2 most important words in English language, stops everything. W starts everything. So I'm a very simple person. I take very simple words and I apply them in everyday conditions, and it works. I talked about the synchronicity of synergy. You saw it on Sunday, on Father's Day. You saw it last night when the guy painted me. You heard it when Rhythm and I music, we paid it for you, And how did I get the synchronicity of energy? Because I listen to my heart. I listen to the heartbeat. Love dub. Love dub. I'm alive. You're alive. Dub dub. I'm alive. You're alive. I'm happy. You're happy, And that sense of spirituality is, spirituality predated religion. There's no right or wrong on it.
Right.
Everything flows,
You're just feeling. You're feeling, man.
Everything
you're feeling
flows,
your gut.
The
divinity, by the way I understand it, because I'm like I like to be very logical in how I understand things. That's why I'm very open to everything, but I also know, but I question everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I know we don't really know anything. And the way I look at what you're saying, and the way it makes sense to me, is the humanity is like the material stuff, like our bodies and what we look like and all that. And the divinity you talk about, which I can relate to in this way, that it's the energy. It's like, meaning it's the motion you create with your hands and the words you spit out of and the intentions behind your thoughts. And are you going to try to do something with a bigger purpose, or are you going to go do something with short-term gains that hurts somebody? That's the divinity. The divinity is the energy that you drive your humanity. The humanity don't mean shit. It's just the looks and the carcass and the bones. It's the energy you propel it with, the shit, the intentions you have. And like you've said before, and I love this, man, that we're made out of, atoms. Mm-hmm. And atoms are like, whatever, 90%. 99%
empty
99%
space. 99%
energy.
empty space.
Empty space. Energy.
Space.
shit floating around, electrons floating around a nucleus and so on, right?
Right.
So protons and whatnot. And those are all stuck together, made into like what looks like me moving around. But really, I'm like 99% energy and air pushing these like reflectors molecules that are showing genes and skin and shit, right? But we're really 99% like kind of empty space,
Right. Well,
energy, right? Divinity.
right.
And that is the divinity you're talking about.
Right.
You're not saying like you're not claiming to know what it means, the divinity, but there's some crazy ass energy shit that's pulling us together and making us move. Or do you really do you know like what it actually is, the answer?
Right.
Tell
Well, right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I believe in the divinity is that power source, wherever it comes from, whatever it comes from.
Right. We don't know.
That is the thing that we're all tied into. Some of us know it, but most of us are ignorant of it because we've been taught to believe differently.
This is why I relate to you so much, because I'm really not a religious person at all, although I'm very open to hearing religious beliefs and how people think and all of that, right? I like the idea of spirituality because I don't necessarily call that what I thought it was, but it could be, because I just think like, man, this could be anything, man. There's some crazy shit going on right here. Like, if you look at like the shit that's happening that we know about, like how DNA is coded, like we're programmed. That's some crazy shit. There's some creation force behind this, I think. Whatever. Energy source, whatever it is. And so being open to it being anything, right, at all, also gives you a lot of hope, because that also means we don't know that it's over when you die. You don't. You really don't, because that's a false claim to say, oh, no, it's just over. How do you know that? Could be a dream. It could be this could be anything. This could be a simulation, a video game, virtual reality.
Karl Marx said it best. He said religion is the opium of the people. If you look at the Western society, I don't know a whole lot about the Eastern society, but the Western society, sex, drugs, money, power, most people, you go over those few things that I just said, you control them. If I had no money and nowhere to go, no food to eat, I'm going to be okay. See, that tree has a spirit. The air has a spirit. These lights have, everything has a spirituality. One of the first things that man deified prior to quote unquote religions, they looked at the Big Dipper, Ursula Major. That was Mother Bear. They actually looked up to Mother Bear as the source of whatever. And last time I checked, the Big Dipper is literally millions of light years away. Millions of light years away. And this whole idea of religion, if you ask me, my theory is some alien beings came down here and said, we're going to make a slave race called the human race. And we're going to get them to do our bidding because our people don't want to do it anymore, okay? And that's when they came with the idea of, we'll show you how to build things. Do you realize there are no straight lines in nature? I want people to hear this. There's no straight lines in nature. So how do we build straight lines? My theory is some alien beings came down here, took a group of whatever, animals, whatever, made them into humans, and we're going to give you all this knowledge, but we have the right to control you, the right to give it 1,000 years or 100 years, okay? We control everything. And we said, okay, fine. I'm like, no. If there are no straight lines in nature, why am I building something straight? Because normally you build either through genetics or through environment. Our genetics is not straight. You got double coiled helix. That's called DNA. It's not straight. It's not straight. There's nothing straight in nature. Why are we building straight things? Because they made a contract. We're going to make you, but you got to do what we say, or else we're going to destroy you. We say, okay, I'm glad to be here. I would say, okay, kill me. I'm gone. I'd be a poor slave to any race of any God-making race. I'm done. Kill me, because I'm not doing it. I've been that way all my life.
Right.
No, seriously.
No, I know what you mean.
So think about that. There are no straight lines in nature. Why are we building things in straight lines? Because
Right.
what are you giving up to get the straight lines?
Right.
It's like you say, here's $1 million, but here's the catch. I can give you anytime I want. I control everything about you. But you can have as much money as you want until I take away from you. No, I don't want it. No parts. No, thank you. Not doing it.
Well, there are straight lines in nature where some string gets pulled really tight and then it becomes a straight line. And then boom, you can draw along that line.
No. There
are no straight
there
line.
are no straight lines in nature. If you make something straight, it's because they taught you to make it straight, but it doesn't reflect what's in nature. There are no straight lines in nature.
Look, it's all possible.
There are no straight lines. I'm telling you. Just like
No, I mean your theory. That,
right. And here's the other thing. I hate to break this to other people. The universe is a flat plane. The universe is flat. There's no such thing as around Earth or around planets. They taught you that, but it's not true. Okay? I'm not a flat earther or anything like that. I'm just saying, because I read ancient Kemetic things, and before there was ancient Kemetic, there were other things that came out of Africa. Nut was a sky god, and she had a ceiling. You go up, and you appear to go up, but you're really going this. You're really going left and right. As an example, if you take a human being and put a camera on them, I say 90% of the time, you look left, right. You don't look up and down. We're not north-south beings. We're east and west beings because that's where the sun is. The sun sets in the west. It rises in the east. It's a left. For us humans, it's a left-right thing. It's not a north-south thing. They do the north-south thing to confuse you. Trust me on that. I looked into this. I'm going like, Nobody does this all day long unless you're a giraffe or unless you got a problem, on medication, or you just like to have go up and down. Most of the time you're doing this. Think about it. Put a camera on yourself. You'll see. I mean, I've looked at some very simple things. An example, if I ask each one of you here to describe how you teach somebody to walk and talk, you couldn't do it. We have no idea how we talk or how we walk. We have no idea. You can tell me from a point of view of mechanics, you use this muscle, blah, blah, write an essay to teach somebody, another alien being. How would you teach them to talk? How would you teach them to walk? You ever try to write an essay about how you show a kid how to tie a shoe? I mean, you can show them, but can you write it down step by step? No.
Most people can't do that. Complicated.
Think about it. This is
It's
simple
more
stuff.
complicated than you
It's
think.
a simple thing. Or how do you tell somebody, how do you pee or use the bathroom? And the alien comes down here and goes, they have to use the bathroom. Like, but what do I do, right?
Okay, so wait, you're saying I'm not following. If you
I'm
can't
just saying.
teach somebody how
I'm
to-
just saying that things we take for granted that are very simple.
right. What does it? What are you saying? It proves that there's.
What I'm saying, it proves that somehow, instinctually, we have these gifts. But if you were to try and logically explain to somebody, you couldn't do it. You could not do it. For instance, how do you
programmed in us?
How do you
like
tell somebody to
instinctually.
be emotionally happy or emotionally sad? Can you write why you're sad? I mean, you can write why you're sad, but can you explain sadness? You can write why you're happy can you explain happiness? See, the emotion is one thing, but the noun is something else. I'm happy, but what is happiness? I'm sad, but what is sadness? You see what I'm saying? And what I'm saying, the language is.
You can describe it in certain words.
We've been programmed in a bad way. We've been programmed. You realize the DNA we have today is not what was in the past? And that bothers me. Also, something else that bothers me. They say we can go back on DNA 60 million years ago. But the dinosaurs died 66 million years ago. So what's the difference between 60 million and 66 million? It's only 6 million years, right? But they can go back DNA. They can do something with DNA that's 60 million years of age, but they can't do it if it's 61 or 62. So you start to think, wait a minute. Something's wrong with that kind of thinking. Think about it. You can do 60, but you can't do 66? Wait a minute. That don't sound right, But we buy because the experts say, blah, 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 blah. We're going to space, You're going up, but you're really doing this. Because the perception is you're doing this, but the reality is you're doing this. And NASA is never a straight answer. Never a straight answer. They got us programmed. We need to get back into critical thinking, is what I'm saying. But more importantly than critical thinking is critical feeling. What do you feel?
Well, you definitely have some interesting ideas, Dr. Chill. I can't say I've researched these areas enough to agree or disagree fully, but what I do know is I almost don't trust anything anymore, right? Like, meaning at the end of the day, like, all of history was like written in books, and today it's obvious you can't really even believe what they write yesterday versus, let's say, something happened 700 years ago. You got to start questioning. It doesn't mean, I mean, you still read them for the learning and, oh, what could happen, or what happened in history. But really, I couldn't say, I wouldn't put my children's life on, oh no, that's exactly what happened. I don't know. It might have been totally different. It might have been really fucked up. It might have been like now we're discovering shit about history that we realize, oh shit, that was some fucked up shit. Maybe that guy wasn't so great, right? So I don't know, man. Like, anything's possible. We're basing everything I know is based on what I've seen out of these two eyeballs, and a lot of it is based on what I saw from a television screen. That could be, who knows, man. We could be living in the Truman Show. Have you guys seen the Truman Show? Have you seen it? Go. It's okay if you haven't. Watch the Truman Show. Jim Carrey. It's worth it.
It is.
Basically, you know from the beginning, so this isn't a spoiler alert. He's born into a show, so he doesn't know he's in a reality. He thinks it's his neighborhood, but he's never gone outside of the limits. And there's cameras everywhere in his mirror. He doesn't know it, right? So it's called, and people are watching him live his life in real life. But this could be that too. We don't really know. So I'm just saying, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, there's so many, especially nowadays, there's so much information and cross information. Unless I'm going to spend
and misinformation
and cross misinformation, anything you want to believe, all the evidence and data is out there for you, man.
Exactly.
Right? Like, if you want to believe if you want to be a flat earther, I've seen this show where there's like, I don't know, man. You could look into it. I thought at first it'd be a joke, but it was like some show where they pitted physicists versus flat earthers, and the flat earthers were like, super intelligent people, and you were like, oh shit. One of them was like this female Air Force pilot who flew planes. So she's like, yeah, and I'm not going to try to explain it, but she cited this phenomenon. And the physicist is like, yeah, well, but I'm like, wait a second. Unless she's really lost it, if she was a pilot, she's flying around the earth. So like, that was like definitely interesting that someone like, now I'm not saying I'm a flat earther. Right. I'm just saying that if you really want to believe, there's so much like cross information, misinformation, misinformation that it's hard to try to know what to believe anymore.
Well, I think the thing
you got to go with your gut. That's why.
Well, see, I have a problem with the word believe because the basis of the word believe is lie.
Right.
So I can't deal with that.
Right. I don't believe anything.
I have knowledge.
True.
Either I know it or I don't know it. If I haven't experienced it, and if I don't know it, then I'm not going to speak on it.
Right. Same here.
Knowing that the universe is on a flat plane, it would seem to me logically, if it's on a flat plane, everything else that derives from it has to be flat. There you go. It has to be. It could be no other way. That's logical.
Right. What you're saying is that it may visually
it appears to be round. Is what I'm saying.
Round,
it appears,
but it's kind of like when you look into the water or like a glass. It looks like it's a curve, but it's really flat.
Exactly.
And so it's just, we don't know that
right.
Black holes suck shit inside of them, and no one knows where the hell it goes.
Right.
They're like, right? Like, where does this energy, they don't know where it goes. Does it go to another dimension?
Well, so,
there's so many things we really don't know, man.
I have a problem with the word speed limit. Okay. It should be speed. I thought of the word
velocity limit.
It should be speed. It shouldn't be limit because once you put a limit on speed, then what are you really saying? But it should reflect that it just should have a better meaning. I had it last night. I can't think of it right now, but the words that we use are not good. Also, I want to say something about the traffic light. Okay, 'cause I do a lot of research. So the traffic light was invented by a man by the name of Garrett Morgan because he saw a lot of accidents in Cleveland, Ohio, right? So he developed the traffic light, red, green, and yellow, right? Now, for him, red was to go and green was to stop because
Right.
naturally in the color world, in the world of colors, red means to go. It gets you excited.
Right,
You know?
excited.
Fight or
That's
flight.
interesting, right?
Green is close to blue, which is you slow down. But the Germans invented color psychology. So on the one hand, you have a man that makes an invention, but somebody else said, but this is what it's going to mean. Okay? The other thing too about traffic, they say don't cross the yellow line or the white line. It should be blue. You can see blue all day and all night. If it's raining, snowing, whatever, sun glaring, when that sunlight hits that white line or the yellow line, you don't know where you are. You come up over a hill, you have no idea because you're blinded. You can see blue longer at nighttime in a far distance, all right, than any other color.
So why did they use blue?
That's what I'm saying. They should use blue.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something. If the police use just blue lights, everybody would. If they just change from red to blue, all the lights be blue, even though you're gonna get stopped, you feel better. You see that red, your heart starts to beat. I'm telling you, Germans use color psychology. It is to intimidate you. Why would you do that? To intimidate people. Okay,
Right.
so they're wrong. Okay, so
I agree, man.
make it cool.
Like
you know?
the way like I actually worked with this security guy,
Mhm.
a friend of mine, Vasquez. But like we talk about this where like a lot of security people come at you, like when you come in and show your ID, they're already trying to intimidate. They're already creating a hostile feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us talking about it, and he's like one of those guys that's really gone the other way of creating like a camaraderie instead.
Mhm.
So when they come in, trying to connect, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? A lot more security guards are doing that because they're understanding that
Right.
you want to create. You don't want to have to break up a fight. You want
Right.
to prevent the fight.
Right.
People need love. People
Right.
need to feel connected. They need to feel. They feel
Exactly.
your energy like a dog. A dog feels your energy. Like
exactly.
you're nervous, they're like all fucking nervous. So
Right.
if you're treating people like that, like trying to intimidate them, it's not the right way.
Right.
You know, and I understand that the thinking is, oh, I'm gonna let you know, don't try to start shit here.
Mhm.
But really, you're creating that aggressive mentality right from the
Exactly.
beginning. And the way, whatever. I don't want to get into like police and like the lack of training and the whole attitude. Like if you look at even UK police,
Mhm.
right? They're trained to de-escalate.
Right.
They have like shields. They're trained to de-escalate because they
Right.
know like if you could let somebody unwind for 30 minutes, they're gonna probably like get tired and calm down.
Well, see,
Here they're like attacking you.
no, but see what
The police dogs jumping
But
through
what
the
you have to understand-
windshield. What the
but
fuck?
you have to understand.
It's like why?
Where's the
Just order a
mentality?
pizza and wait.
You have to understand the history
What's the purpose?
of policing in this country. Policing in this country came from the slave patrols. Okay. It came from the slave patrols. And the badges they wore were made of copper. That's where the word copper comes from. Okay. And they were taught to intimidate and they were treating human beings
Right.
as chattel. And even today, cops treating everybody like they're chattel. Well, we pay their bills. They don't pay our bills.
Right.
We pay their bills.
Right.
Okay. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but the New York Police Department was the model department for which all other police departments sprang from. And their thing was the caliber bullet that they used was based on the stopping power of killing a black man, or stopping power of you're going to get a bullet that's going to stop a black man. That means either injuring him or killing him. They went for the 22 first. After 22, they went to the 32 caliber. After that, they went to the 357 and 44 mag. It was all based on, now they got bullets that tumble and, small hole going in, big hole going out. It's all based on the stopping power, the killing power of a black man. Don't believe me? Do your research. You'll find out what I'm saying is true. Now, once they got the black man, they got everybody. Because they felt like, once they wiped out the Indians, now they got the black man to deal with. And however you treat the black man you're gonna treat anybody else that way. Hispanics, Asians, poor people, poor white people, poor black people, poor anybody. And you have to understand the history of it. People are not looking at the history of it. When you look at the history of it, then you understand why the nation is the way it is. Okay, everything makes sense if you look in the right areas. Okay, and it's really sad because what affects one affects us all. Martin Luther King said it best: "Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere."
Right.
And it's not fair. I know a lot of people like the game of golf. I'm not going off on a tangent here, but they don't understand golf means it was an acronym: gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. Why would I want to play a game that excluded a whole gender? Doesn't
Right.
make. I would never take up golf as a game because the history of it is not meant for women. And also, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but all sports is related to race in a negative way. Okay? Example, baseball, bat. They were all vanilla. The bats were all vanilla. And the balls were all white. Okay? Football is brown, but it goes over a white goalpost. Basketball is a big brown ball goes into a white net. There's something wrong with all that stuff. It's wrong. It's wrong. And people, I can't wait to wait sports, man. You're contributing to racism. Everybody. It's ridiculous. Tennis. Used to be a white ball. It's different color now. Hit with a white racket. And I'm not making this up. I'm not getting emotional, but I'm looking at the math here. What? And who entertains us? The sports people. Look at soccer. It goes into a big white net, right? Duh. I'm like, and it's all based on keeping people down. The athletes are the modern day slaves. They're well paid slaves, but they're slave to the owners, right? If I'm creating all this money, the day that Michael Jordan came back into playing basketball, he got $3 million. NBA made $30 billion. $30 billion on betting and all that stuff. Paid me $3 million? Yeah, the day he came back from when he went out and then he came back. That's why Dave Chappelle says, I don't want $50 million. If you're going to make $5 billion, I want $500 million. We're not going to give it to you. Well, then I'm not going to work. And then they said he was crazy and he was on drugs. And people have to understand that money does not rule the world. Love rules the world, but we have to embrace love, and we have to invest in each other. All of us, 99%. If we just invest in each other, we'll be fine. The world will be fine. But we don't invest in each other. We try. I'm gonna be like that billionaire. I'm gonna be like that millionaire. No. Be like as if that billionaire was your mother or your father. You know how much you love them. Be like them. And if we all invest like that, we'll all be okay. We won't have to worry about the 1% running us because they won't be able to run us because we'll be running ourselves. We'll be running ourselves. Invest in the people that you love. Invest in yourself. Invest in the people that you love. And we'll be fine. Invest in love.
So let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
What should an athlete do if they love basketball but it's racist? I mean, that could be, coincidence too, you could argue, right? I mean, I don't know the answer. I never heard this before.
Well,
so I can't speak on it because I haven't researched it, but
I have.
It could be coincidence. But what do you do if you're if you're Michael Jordan?
Okay.
What does he do? Go start another league?
I had an uncle who was asked to join the Harlem Globetrotters. And that day, that was a lot of money. He said, nope, I'm not going to be anybody's clown. I'm not going to clown for you. There were two guys who played on Rutgers in New York on the playground. Very famous. They were drafted by the NBA game. Nope, we don't want to go. You know why? Because NBA controls how you dress, how you think, how you act. No, you're not going to buy me. I'm not going to be your prostitute. I'm not.
So you just feel like professional, like major professional sports, at least the way most of them are set up, it's not institutions you would want to ever be a part of.
No.
Because because you're about freedom.
Exactly.
Like you were saying,
I'm about freedom.
You would never allow
and
God, like some alien being to come and force you to like worship some
exactly
limiting God, because you're all about freedom, expression.
Right.
believing in like spirituality,
Right.
but the broadness of what
Right.
creation can be,
Well,
and to be able to express yourself however you want.
I say it very simple in my song "Surrender."
So like playing a sports team, you can't be that because you have to
Right.
wear a suit on the sideline.
Right.
You
right,
have to. They're
Right.
telling you what you can and can't. You have to give interviews to reporters.
Right. Right.
They
You have
tell
to,
you
and
you
if you
have
don't,
to.
they'll find you.
So that's what it is. It's
Right.
not so much because I just want to be clear. Like, is it just that the Nets are white? Like, because that could be just
No,
that
no, no,
it
no,
looks
no.
better. I don't know.
Trust me. All
But
sports.
plus, wouldn't
all-
that mean
no,
like
no,
it's
trust me,
racist
trust-
against white people?
Trust me.
It's like
No.
they're abusing these.
No,
white
trust me.
Nets.
All sports were based on racism. All of them. Every last one of them. Okay. And if you understand golf, in the beginning was for rich white people. I have nothing against
Yeah.
white people. Okay. But I'm just saying I have something against people who think they're better than somebody else. Tennis
Now,
was
what if you're
tennis
Tiger
was a
Woods?
game of royalty.
Yeah.
Golf was a game of royalty. Basketball was taken from the Indians. They threw a rock in a basket.
Can it evolve?
And James Naismith said, "I'm gonna make this sport." He never gave him credit for it. Come on, now, man.
Was it really?
That makes me angry
But
because
there was
that makes me-
basketball before.
yes, they took it from the ancient
So
Indians
what-
who would
what
throw
was
a
it?
rock in a basket.
Really?
That's why it's called basketball. A rock is a ball,
Yeah.
in a sense, And I'm just saying, for the same reason that George Lucas took the idea of the Jedi from the ancient Egyptians, didn't give him credit. I don't like that. Be transparent.
Right.
Even the Beatles said we learned to sing from, Motown. We loved the rhythm and blues thing. But what I didn't like, what they didn't do, they didn't give any scholarships out to people in the ghetto. They took the music that they loved. Okay, that's how they started. And then when they came to America, the guy says, "Can't do that. You got to do something different." And they did. And it's not right, man. You cannot co-opt somebody else's thing.
Okay.
And as an example,
Yeah.
rock and roll came straight from rhythm and blues. It was
That's
rock
true.
and roll.
That I
it was
heard.
rock and roll before it was rock and roll. In other words,
Sure.
they're talking about rock and roll back in the 40s.
Yeah. The
Alan
music
Freed,
kept stealing from the
Alan Freed
previous.
says, I'm gonna coin the term. You're gonna name my music? You're gonna name my music. How idiotic or arrogant is that? Also, jazz was taken from New Orleans. They call jazz music ass music. People say, what do you call this music? They say, we call it ass music, ASS. They say, well, we can't call it ass music because in order for it to get to the general society, we got to change something. So you're going to take my idea. You're going to take my intellectual property, name it, make money off of it, and then let me play it when you feel like letting me play it? See, we have to be real with it. If you stay real, you understand the spirit of what is real, and you understand the beauty of what is. Not the beauty of what they tell you it is, but what beauty is. It's beauty as you see it versus somebody saying, oh, that's beautiful, and then they're going to tell you why it's beautiful. And then you have to understand, and you have to go by their definition, okay? Mona Lisa was a picture that somebody told me it wasn't the beauty of it, but everybody just liked it so much that all of a sudden it became beautiful. I'm like, well, is it beautiful or is it not beautiful? You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody sells 10 billion records, don't mean it's great. But if you say it's great, everybody says
Right.
great.
Yeah, is Mona Lisa good?
Right. No. I'm just
I wanna
saying,
ask.
as an example,
Right, I know.
because
I'm just curious.
I'm really not into great art.
I wanna
or
ask the
what
art
great
guy later.
art is or isn't. But I heard somebody say that at the time people were saying certain things, and so
Right.
they all just begin to say
Well, that's
blah blah
a lot of
blah.
it's perception.
Right. But
Can I
I'm
say
just
something?
saying,
I want to say something though, because I think this would be really useful.
Mhm.
When we post this podcast,
Mhm.
we should fact check stuff and people should comment
Mhm.
and educate me. I want to be educated because some things you've said, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard that.
Mhm.
But some things, first time I've heard it.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well,
So I want to be open,
Mhm.
And we don't have to agree on everything,
right.
but
Well, see, I'm not looking for
I do
understanding.
like how
I'm
like,
sorry, I'm
I
not looking
always
for
learn
agreement.
something when I talk.
I'm looking for understanding, and most people confuse the two.
You're right.
If a million people say something is right, it doesn't make it right.
Right.
If one person says it's right, he could be wrong. But I'm just saying,
I like to understand.
when you look at what is written from the point of view of something objective as opposed to, being subjective on on an item. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wrote about racism in sports, and I learned from her. And she pointed out the various things. Golf, it's a white ball goes into a white hole. I mean, why couldn't it be a black hole? Why couldn't it be a black ball? Why couldn't it be a red ball? Why couldn't it be a yellow ball? Because when you're driving in traffic, they say don't go beyond the white line. It's not the white line. That white line represents control. Why? Because in 1600s, someone decided that white would be a thing that would be in law, and if it was law, it had to be right. Prior to 1600, in this country, there was no black or white. People came over. White people came over as indentured servants or slaves. Black people came over as indentured servants or slaves. But when they put it in law, there's something about making something a law. All of a sudden, you know what it's like? It's like you go to the doctor, and he says you have a disease, and all of a sudden you fall apart and you die. You have the same disease. Nobody tells you had it, and you live forever. You see? It's something about, people internalizing something. Mm-hmm. If you internalize the truth, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was the truth. And then once you find out it's a lie, oh my goodness. You mean all of this time I've been taught, and then, Right. I recently read that Hans Christian Andersen, who wrote Hansel and Gretel and all the things for kids, he was a pedophile. How's this man writing this literature, getting away with it, and it's classic? If you tell people that now, you tell them, don't read Hansel and Gretel. Don't read anything Hans Christian Andersen wrote because he was a pedophile. Which means he was looking at these kids. He was writing about kids for another reason.
Right.
Or that Walt Disney hated women. How great is it to have Disneyland when you hate women?
Did he really?
Yeah, he hated women.
Huh.
He couldn't stand women. And the way he got over, he had other people pay for his stuff. People say, that's smart. No, it's not. He just used everybody. So I'll have no respect for Walt Disney. Have no respect for Steve Jobs because he was an asshole. As people who were close to him. He may have been a genius in terms of what he did, but personally, people couldn't stand him. That's why the movie didn't do well. Nobody went to see the movie because people who work around it already knew he was a genius doing this, but he wasn't a Nikola Tesla who died penniless and broke. He was the great man. Einstein said, I'm not a genius. Nikola Tesla is a genius. That's the respect I have for this man, And people said if Nikola Tesla had put his faith in humanity instead of all these great inventions, then it may have turned out differently for him because he was a great man, But somehow he did it more into his inventions, alternating current and other things that he did, that other people got credit for the patents for and got the money, Westinghouse, J.P. Morgan, Edison, they got all the money and all the fame. He didn't. But he had put that into humanity, so to speak. Right. It would have been better for him,
Yeah, he didn't market and sell.
He was a loner.
Right.
He was a brilliant man. He was a loner. He loved people, but I guess he didn't know how to connect with them.
That's right.
But I have
Sometimes
great respect.
Genius isn't enough,
I have great respect
for
for Tesla and no respect at all for Edison.
Yeah.
None for Westinghouse or GE. GE and RCA took the invention. I think the guy's name was Romanov. I believe he was Russian. He invented TV. He died penniless and broke. And nobody knows he patented TV. He got nothing for it. Nothing. That's a great invention. Marconi got the credit for the radio, but there was somebody else who invented it before he did. And later on, the guy who really invented radio, he got credit for it, but nobody knew his name or cared. So a lot of stuff that you're taught and hear about, they controlling you. They are programming you, Every movie that comes out in America that gets on the big screen has got to pass through the CIA. If they don't like it, you're not putting it out. This is truth. And it's sad, And TV programs we see, it's geared to the lowest common denominator, That's sad. That's why we're beginning to have a whole lot more diversity. Everybody needs to tell their story. You can't, a 10-year-old kid can't tell a story of a 20-year-old kid. 20-year-old kid can't tell a story of a 10-year-old kid because the 20-year-old is not 10. 10 is not 20, right? Why would you do that? You know, I mean, it's people have to open up. They have to open up their hearts, not their minds. Open up your hearts, because your heart is beating when you're about 1 or 2 months in your mother's womb. It's beating. It's cool. The mind is still, I'm getting it together, and your mind is not even mature till you're 25. You gotta wait till be 25 before you have a mature mind. Man, your heart is ready to go. When you're 4 months of age in your mom, your heart's beating. It's a real heart beating, doing its thing. It's just growing in size and in complexity. But you're not gonna have a mature mind till you're 25, man. Come on now. Understand that. This is really deep, It really is deep, At least 25, I would say in the Western world, because in other parts of the world, you consider an adult when you're 14 or 15 or 16, And we are a country in the world. We're not the only country in the world. We are part of the world, right? And so I just think people need to read more. They need to experience more. They need to be more open. Receive life with an open heart, not an open mind.
Reading more. Take us back to school. So continue the story, because we keep going off on theories.
Well, okay, so
I want to know your story. Like,
all right,
okay,
so
I'm just curious.
So I went to Roger Bacon High School.
Yeah,
Roger Bacon.
Just like you went. Then
yeah.
Okay.
I started high school in 1959. Graduated in 1963. Roger Bacon was I believe he was a religious friar. I believe he was Franciscan, and he basically invented the bicycle back in the 12th or 13th century. He was an eccentric. Yeah. Name is Roger Bacon. Read about him.
Oh, this is the school you went to?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant man. And I graduated, 4.0, got a scholarship.
So you were a good student.
Yeah, I was great. When test day came, people prayed I wouldn't show up, because if I showed up, there was no curve. Curve means that
right.
If 90 is an A,
you were a killer on the test.
Right. So if 90 was an A,
academically,
70 was a B or C.
All right.
But if 100 was an A, you got 70, you pretty much, close to flunking. Or if 80 was a A, 60 was cool.
Right.
But if I showed up, oh man, he's showing up today, there'll be no curve.
I don't think people look at somebody that's spiritual like you and say, oh, he was a 4.0 student. So, okay. So 4.0 student.
Right. And so based on that, I got a scholarship to college.
Yeah.
And it wasn't college I wanted to go to, or the university I wanted to go to. The university I wanted to go to, I got into it, but I missed the deadline for scholarships because my advisor did not tell me the dates, because they didn't want me to go to a greater university because I was not of the right, I was not of the right color. As a matter of fact, when I went to high school, I took a college prep course that did not include algebra, did not include any sciences. Wait a minute. If I'm in a college prep, that's chemistry, that's biology. I didn't get that till I got to college. I said, Mom. And I didn't know. My mother didn't know. Your advisor tells you what to take for college.
So
college
your advisor kept it out of you.
College prep means you prep for college. You take algebra. You take the sciences. You take chemistry, biology, algebra. I was ready for algebra in the 4th grade. I didn't get it till I was 19. I was ready for it at 9. Didn't get it till I was 19. And the only reason I didn't get it was because I was the wrong color.
Right.
But I didn't know, because I thought everybody pretty much the same, and I had no idea. And later on in life, I got cheated. And they did it real smooth, like, why? I didn't even know at the time that I was being cheated. And later on, when I was in my 20s, I said, wow, this is not right. But the water's over dam.
Right.
It's too late. But it didn't stop me.
Right.
It did not stop me.
So then
That's
you
the
gotta
good
keep
thing.
going. Right.
It didn't stop me.
So then what?
Because if it had stopped me,
right,
I could have been angry and mad. Oh man,
exactly.
And I could have self-destructed. I could have got into drugs and alcohol and all the drugs that were available. And I didn't go that way. So I finished the university.
Yeah.
Got accepted into medical school.
Yeah.
Came into medical school at a time where most Black and brown students either went to Meharry or they went to Howard. There were only two basically Black medical schools. And the class that I came into in 1970 was at the University of California, San Francisco. They had blacks, they had browns, they had Indian students, they had women students, they had
Very
people
diverse.
who had been in other jobs and decided that they wanted to become a doctor. So I was in like a revolutionary class. It was very beautiful. University of California, San Francisco Medical Center. 1970, graduated in 1974. After that, I came to LA to do my internship and residency. And for the last 43 years, I've been practicing, medicine, mainly as a pediatrician, but I've also done general medicine, family medicine, alternative medicine, and I've enjoyed it. But along the way, I always wanted to be creative. And as a doctor, as a scientist, you're kind of limited in your creations,
Right.
Disease, you're going to treat it so many ways.
Right. It's an equation.
Right. Viruses, you're going to treat in so many ways. You can help people in just so many ways. You're very limited, right? It was beautiful to see them, get well, see babies growing up from zero to now.
Mhm.
Some of the patients that I still talk to, they were babies. Now they're grandfathers, and I'm talking to the grandfather, the father, and the grandson. So it's been rewarding that way. And I've met a lot of people, all kind of races, all kind of ages, all kind of genders. But
And
I
your
wanted
last
to-
name is Chilumbo.
just
Your
Chilumbo.
born name.
No, I was not born with a name.
Not-
It's a name, what I call a name of Renaissance. So when I was 22, my last name, I didn't like it. I didn't like my first name because it was the name of a slave. It was a slave name. I was named
Can I ask
after.
what it was, or
I was named after a famous actor. I was named after Gregory Peck.
okay.
Gregory Peck was like the Clark Gable of his day. He was a very handsome,
I know
well-known,
Gregory Peck.
very
Amazing
articulate,
actor, yeah,
actor.
yeah.
And my last name was Barnes.
To Kill a
Okay,
Mockingbird, right?
right.
Yeah.
And when I looked around at me, I go like, but I'm not a Gregory Peck. There's nothing about me.
Right.
I'm not going to Hollywood. I don't want to act. Definitely not a Gregory Peck type looking person. So from 22 to 29, I searched for 7 years. I asked the universe. This is when I really got into my spirituality. I said, universe, give me a name that will reflect more of who I am. 7 years. 7 is the number of being holy, being sacred. It's the number of being on the Most High. It's the number of divinity, right? 7 years. And so a few months before I graduated from medical school, at the age of 29, I told the dean, I said, I'm changing my name. This is what it will be on my diploma. He said, you can't do that. I go, I'm doing it. So from now on, you no longer call me Mr. Barnes or Dr. Barnes, just Dr. Chilumbo. And I picked names that represented North Africa, East Africa, West Africa, and South Africa, because to me, it's the United States of Africa. Africa is, from my research, tells me it's the birthplace of mankind. So I wanted to embrace that. So I took 4 different names from 4 different parts of Africa. Karamo I took from Nigeria. It means teacher. Asaber I took from North Africa, which means creative one. Kasano I took from South Africa, which means priest. And I took Chilumbo from East Africa, which means either beast, dragon, or royal family. So I felt complete. And I was like, this is who I am. I've discovered me. This is who I am.
Interesting.
And,
So what's
it
the
was-
full name?
so the full name is Karamo, Asaber, Kasano, Chilumbo. And it means
Sick.
the teacher,
Yeah.
okay, who is creative,
Mm-hmm.
who is a prince of the royal family. Okay, a creative teacher of the royal family,
Beautiful.
so, and I've tried to live that. And then I found out later, when you break down Karamo in ancient Kemetic language, because Kemet is an ancient name of Egypt. Egypt is a Greek name, and it means the land of black faces, given by the Greeks to that area. But it's really called Kemet, which is where chemistry or alchemy comes from. Okay? So Ka means you surrender to the spirit of God, Ra, at noon, speaking intelligently. So my first name means the spirit of God, who at noontime speaks intelligently, And I'm like, I had no idea. And then someone further told me that Karamo was equivalent to God, Yahweh, Buddha, Tao, Allah. And I'm not making this up. I was told by people more wise than I am. That's what it is. I'm like, wow, the universe really gave me a beautiful name because, like I said, in Nigeria, Karamo means teacher. And God, of course, is a teacher because he builds things. That's what a teacher does. He gives you knowledge for your understanding. And hopefully, if you put the understanding together, you get wisdom.
So when did you start becoming Dr. Chill, like officially?
When I graduated from, okay, so the name Chill came about because I was practicing in Pasadena. A little boy came up to me and said, you know what? My mom can't say Chilumbo or however you say your last name. Can we just call you Dr. Chill? Cool. So it was a baby who gave me the name. He says, can we call you Dr. Chill? Because my mama can't say Chilumbo or however you say your last name. He didn't say Chilumbo. He said something. Can we just call you Dr. Chill? I said, yes. And the name stuck. And it was a beautiful revelation because it's like, wow. I would never thought Chilumbo, Chill. You know, because I'm into meanings and, to me, it's a sacred name, right?
Right.
And, make a nickname. I mean, I'm not a gangster. I don't hang out. And, I'm not a homie. I'm a professional person. I carry, knowledge. And
so did you have this look as a doctor or you were more professional at the time?
As a doctor.
Because I saw some old pictures.
As a doctor.
You look different.
I was Esquire. I was GQ.
Yeah, I saw
I
you
was
in a
GQ.
suit.
I was three-piece suit, button-down tie, just smell good, look good, talk good, walk good, And then one day I said to myself, I have too much distance between me and the patient. So I'm going to dress down.
Interesting.
I'm going to be like the common man in my dress, Because what you see is what you get, right?
Right.
Because they walk in. I mean, everybody would come to my offices all dressed up. I mean, people coming from together. They didn't have anything. They were always dressed up to come see me.
Yeah.
Because I was always dressed up. They would be like, it was like going to church.
Right.
They little kids, pants were, pressed and everything. The little girls with cute little dresses,
So you got like a broken leg. With
Right. So they're coming to see the doctor, but they're coming like, they're going too fast to show, Because I was cool,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I said, you know what?
So you were a popular doctor.
I was a popular doctor.
All right. You were
Patients
fun.
loved me. I loved them,
And you leaned into, like, everyone started calling you Dr. Chill?
Yes. And so they started calling me Dr. Chill. I said, cool, yeah. So, that was, I don't practice in an office, per se anymore. I do a lot of telephonic and I'll see some patients. I make house calls. But a lot of it is telephonic.
So you still practice?
Yes. A lot of it's telephonic, but I do make house calls,
So how does, then connected with the music, the art, like when did you start making your own like music? Were you said you wrote a song a while back in like 2000?
Well, actually back in the 80s, I was wanting to do what I'm doing now. I had some young daughters. I made them into a group. They were going to be the next TLC. TLC was
I know TLC, yeah.
Right.
What was it? Go ahead.
My
TLC
daughters were going to be the next TLC.
Yeah.
My daughters were like teens. TLC was adults. So when they were about, I guess, 12, 13, 14, I said, let's put a group together called MJP. We're getting ready to get signed to Motown, but one of the other mothers.
How did you know to even do this? Like, where did that idea come
Well, okay,
from?
so
like
Miyoko.
Okay, girls, family meeting.
No,
we're gonna sign you to.
I saw my wife's cousin dance, and my little girl Miyoko was 5 at the time. Jamila was 3. Shahi was, I think, 1. No, he was 2. Yager was 1. And they had been born. I go, you know what? I want to get them into dancing, And then once we got into dancing, then people thought they were really cute. They wanted to be in kids' videos, right? They wanted to be in kids' videos. So, they were in, the various kids, singing nursery rhymes and so on and so forth. And as a musician or a person who always loved music, because prior to that marriage, I was going to be doing something while I was in training, to be a doctor. But my first wife left me and I kind of got, sidetracked. Oh, I don't know. think I want to pursue that because I want to pursue getting my wife back, which I should have just said, okay, she don't want me. That's fine. Let me do my thing. And I should have been further into music, than I am now. But I knew that my medicine job was safe, and I was going to make money. I was going to be okay. Music, kind of maybe, it may not be the most stable of jobs, because you spend all the time,
Right.
being a doctor all those years. You're not just going to throw that away.
Right.
At least I didn't want to throw it away, or maybe I didn't want to take the risk. But so anyway, when I started my second family, I knew I wanted to do something with it. I didn't quite know when, so I started off dancing. And once they started dancing, they started booking jobs. Kids videos, and can your daughter be in this video? Can it be in that video? So I told my wife, I said, okay.
Were they like super talented, or they were just going to a lot of auditions? Like, what was
they started off as being dancers? Okay, they got to the point as children they were professional dancers. Okay.
So they were like really serious about it.
Right. And I knew they could sing because I know I have singing in me. I just knew it, instinctively. So I decided that I would get a producer and I would have him start producing my daughters. They were like a duet. And I said, well, I think we need a third girl. So I got a third girl who couldn't sing, but she had the same look as my daughter.
How did you even like have the like confidence and the audacity to do it?
Well,
like, were you always just like, I'm gonna do it?
Well,
whatever it was, like, I'm gonna do this. Were you always just doing whatever you wanted?
Right. Well,
kind of, or you built up to that?
I knew that I wanted to pursue, the music thing, but like I said, after my first marriage didn't work, I kind of put it on hold. But when I had children, I knew I had to pass it on. I couldn't just let the talent die, because too much is given.
And you saw it in them too, so you said, okay, let's do it with the kids then.
And I knew it was just a matter of time. So we put this group together.
You weren't wrong.
Right. And by that time, Janae had been born, and I specifically told Tina when Janae was born, I said, we have the next Jackson 5. Okay. That's when I really kind of kicked it into gear. When she was born in 1988, Miyoko would have been 8 or 9. And they were already booking, kids videos and being in other people's videos.
So were you managing them and driving them?
No. I had my wife manage them. In retrospect, I should have managed them, but that's neither here nor there because I'm results oriented. I would have been like a Joe Jackson, not harsh though. I would have been like, okay, like I'm a doctor. I walk in the door. Yeah. I'm a doctor. People gonna listen to me because I'm a doctor.
Right.
And what I didn't know, I would know. But I was busy practicing, and I couldn't do.
Do you feel like you? I know you don't regret anything because we just kind of flow with what happens. But do you feel like it would have been more effective for you to have put the practice on hold and do it full time?
Yeah.
You hesitated, right? Like you should have jumped more.
What I should have done is I should have.
Because I had those moments too, so I'm not judging you for it.
What I should have done was I should have spent maybe half time practicing and half time managing. You know what I'm saying? Because I had enough patience. And doctors can get loans and they can, say it's for their practice and they can use it. And then they can use, they can also use it for other things. It wouldn't have been wrong. And I make sure, things get done. The woman who didn't want to have her daughter in the group because she wanted to be part of management, I would have had no problem saying no, I'll find somebody else. So let me know, yes or no, let's do this. Don't prolong it. But women get into the feelings and all that stuff. Women get into the emotions. Men, we act on, bam, let's do this, right? It's not emotional. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Okay, next.
Right.
Women want to think about it and have all kind of attitudes and blah 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 blah. And we're dealing with young girls, blah blah blah. So, or if we had been dealing with young boys, it would have been the same situation. So anyway, they didn't get signed, but I didn't give up, and they went on to, we got other girls involved, right? And they did something in the record business. They put out a record called Play Another Slow Jam, but then that manager died. And when he died, it just seemed to that seemed to be the end of that particular group. But the girls still continued to model, dance, sing. Jamila eventually became a solo artist. Miyoko didn't decide to deal with the business anymore as a single artist, although she could have. Meanwhile, Janae's, growing up. My son was also in groups, but and a lot of the guys that were in the group that he was in have done, great things, since then. But and then meanwhile, Janae was coming up when she turned 13. She got signed, and she had perfect pitch as a as a toddler. Miyagi had perfect pitch as a toddler. For some reason, he didn't want to sing, but he could have been, he would have been a great R&B singer, but he didn't want to sing. He just, no, I don't want to do it. I don't know why. You have to respect a kid's decision.
Absolutely.
And so, meanwhile, I continued to practice, and I always wanted, to do music, but I was always busy taking care of people. I was always putting myself last. I was always devaluing what I really wanted to do, because I certainly could have been doing this a long time ago.
Right.
But in 2015,
most of us listening can relate.
Or 2016, I decided, okay, I'm going to stop practicing regular medicine. I'm going to do alternative medicine. So I started doing a lot with marijuana, other ways to, deal with people, crystal therapy, aromatherapy, spiritual therapy, so on and so forth. So I went out in that direction, and it gave me a chance to be more creative, because I'm going to tell you, as much as I love dealing with patients, and it was tens of thousands of patients, I impacted literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives as a doctor. I wasn't creative. And one creative moment for me is greater than saving a life, because I'm saving a life. I got to go by rules and regulations, but when I'm creating, I get to do me. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no rules to follow. I get to do what I want to do. It's coming from the universe through me.
Yeah, it's more authentic who you are.
Right. And and it's me.
I think you thought that you wanted to help people, and medicine is like a respectful and
I've always liked helping people. I love helping people.
It's not the way you want to.
I love giving, but I'm giving something that somebody else taught me. It's not what I'm teaching myself.
Right.
I'm not. It's the difference between cooking with somebody else's ingredients or cooking, box cooking or cooking from scratch. It's a difference, you get a different taste, you get a different flavor, you get a different meaning, you get a different feeling, right? So,
and it's a representation of you, not someone else.
Just to come out of the blue, just to reach into the into the abyss of the universe and pull something out that
put your own imprint, whatever it is,
that can help heal other people.
Right.
Which I've always been into healing and helping,
And you could, like you said before, you could reach a lot more people with some kind of creative content. Right.
Instead of reaching one patient at a time, I can reach 100,
10 hours,
or 1,000,
surgery,
or 10,000. Right. And so I would have a greater impact, especially if my intention was good, and I didn't put my attention to it. So if I had good intention and not putting attention to it, it works.
Right.
And I've just been happy because I felt so constipated all these years. I have all these great ideas. I talk to coaches, I have things all the time.
You were constipated with ideas.
Right. And I'm
Leo
constipated
like that.
with ideas, or I'm pregnant with ideas.
I don't want to know what happened after the constipation.
I'm holding them in. So wait a minute. Why are you holding the within? You got something powerful within. Let it out.
Right.
Just let it out. That's all you gotta do.
Dude, I relate.
All you have to do is do it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to let it fester, or you don't have to let it just brew. Just let it out.
Right. The universe needs it.
Right.
Be you, because only you can have that idea. No one else. So don't hold it in.
Right.
Some of the best ideas I've ever had, I thought were the dumbest fucking ideas. I better not say this, and I go, I'm just gonna say it anyway. And then that's the one that needed your imprint. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to let it out, man. Know that you're good enough. I know people say that, like, know that you're good enough. It's true though, because if you think I'm not good enough, you don't share your ideas, then you don't you don't give your idea a chance to even grow because
Right.
you don't even plant the seed. You know what I mean? So it's, man, I get you. And look, I can relate to you because I was in corporate for a long time, and I felt like, well, I can't complain because I had a good job, but I was miserable. I wasn't really able to contribute to the tribe in my most authentic, fulfilling way. And for me, sitting in front of a computer screen, analyzing spreadsheets and writing up reports, not what I want to do. You know what I mean? And for some, they like that. They like telling stories through numbers. Be who you are. That's the key, man. Like,
Right.
not everyone has to be who you're a super unique individual, obviously. Some people can create, and they want to create through medicine. And that's their form of creation. For you, I think it was too limiting.
Right. Right. Right.
I think you need to be able to, like, from what I've seen, you're like, let's do an NFT, let's do a painting, let's do a fucking music video, songs, write a book. You know, you want to create in every possible way,
Right.
in
Right.
every breadth of your being, and
Right.
with your hands, with your feeling, with making sounds, with singing, with making music videos. Like, you want to do it all.
Right. Right.
Kind of, I want to do that too, but you know, I mean, I think there's no reason you can't do that now. You know, full expression.
Well, like I say, you know, I've been a right brain and a left brain person. You know, left, you know, logical, and right is creative. And I'm bilingual, by the way. That means, you know, right brain, left brain. And most of us, we can all be bilingual, but you know, we get stuck at, oh, you're logical or you're emotional. But no, you can be both. You know.
Right.
And but like I said, when I found out that the human brain has 100 billion neurons, and each neuron has 10,000 connections. When I found that the number is exponentially greater than all of the stars in the universe, that each human brain has the potential to create infinite possibilities. That's one human brain.
Infinite, man.
And
For
then
sure.
the heart has 10 times more energy than the brain. So you basically have 11 universes within you, and there's no excuse to say you can't do something. I mean, you have the potential is there.
Right.
Just do it. You know, understand it and do it. And I tell people, you can be anybody you want, do anything you want. It's called time, practice makes perfect.
Yep.
That's all. And a desire to do it. But not, I can't do this. I'm not, I don't understand that. It's there.
Well,
It's there. It's there.
I believe the desire comes, it's like the chicken and the egg. The desire comes after you figure out who you are and your passion. So like with my kids, I would let them try everything, every sport they wanted, anything they were attracted to, go try it. Give it a little time, right? But at the end of the day, I wanted them to find something they were passionate about. Once they did, then they got more, you know, obsessive over it, you know, and practicing their discipline and working hard and all that. So I think like that's very important too, finding that and the confidence, because not everyone has your I don't know where you got your confidence. Where did you get your confidence? I want to know, because that's a big thing and it's very elusive, because people saying, oh, just do it. Some people literally can't because they have such a mental block that they're not good enough and they're not worth it and they're nothing. Because I'm assuming, I already know, your mom didn't tell you that. Your mom was probably like uplifting you. She was probably believing in you. Oh, you can do whatever you want, son.
Exactly.
Go fucking get a job and pay for your fucking private school. But you can do it. So
Right,
do it.
Right.
Because if she didn't make you believe that you could go to private school and go to any college you want and become a doctor if you wanted and whatever you wanted, son, you wouldn't have worked that hard. You wouldn't have worked those part-time jobs, because you would have been like, why am I doing this? You knew why you were doing it, because she made you believe, I think. Am I wrong?
Well, yeah, she was.
Or either you did it because you have a very strong confidence that that doesn't come from nowhere, and you instilled it in your kids. I think
she always told me I could do
my philosophy,
whatever
my theory.
I wanted to do, you know.
See?
And pretty much I was a rebel. I mean, I did what I wanted to do. I was considered a rebel. I mean, I would, you know, somebody tell me I couldn't do something, I would do it. Somebody tell me I'm late, I go, according to what? The stars, the moon, the sun, what? Are we talking about? Are we talking lunar time, solar time, or sidereal time? You know, I question everything and everybody. Anybody who is authority or discipline, I wanted to know why. Just don't tell me to do something. I want to know why. If you
Me
couldn't
too,
tell me,
man.
if you couldn't tell me,
Question every
Everything.
fucking thing.
everything. I question
You
everything.
can always go back to your original philosophy.
I question everything, you know?
That's what, when people don't want to question, I always question them because I
Right,
think,
right.
well, wait a second. If your way of looking at it is so great, why won't you just look at it from this other side and then
Right.
still choose yours, which is so much better,
Right,
right?
right.
What's the harm in comparing other arguments? Question everything. The problem is they're afraid that their argument won't stand up, so they don't even want to hear it.
Right, right, right.
That's the truth.
You know.
Because I'm always open to changing what I think about things.
Mhm.
As I got older
Mhm.
and as I changed how I thought about things, because I go, wait a second, I thought I knew, and then I go, well, I didn't even never heard that before.
Right,
And then
right.
you look into it, like the night, for example, 9/11, right? The whole
Mhm.
9/11. You know, like once I started watching documentaries about it,
Exactly.
I was
exactly.
like, at first I'm like, conspiracy theories, these people with their, but then I'm like, wait a second, shit.
exactly.
That's when I really started becoming more of a man. You can't believe anything.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's why I don't say I know you're not right, just because I haven't heard some of the things that you've said.
Mhm.
There's also a lot of things I learned as I got older that when I was younger, I thought there's no way.
Mhm.
I was very simple thinking when I was younger,
Mhm.
because that's what it is.
Exactly.
As you get older, your world expands, right? When you're little, you only know your mama, dad,
Right.
right? And then you know the neighbor, and then
Mhm.
you know the neighborhood, and then you start looking at politics and
Mhm.
reading, and it starts getting really gray, man, when you start
Yes.
really understanding
Yes,
the
yes,
world.
Yes.
It's
Well, you know,
it's
I've
not
gotten.
that simple.
I think
Yeah.
I got more of an education outside of the university and outside of medical school, because I tell people all the time, do your own due diligence. Do
Right.
your own due diligence. Check it out for
Absolutely.
yourself. People always say, speed of light is the ultimate. No, it's not, because light cannot penetrate a black hole. It can't escape a black hole. So therefore, a black hole has to have time faster than the speed of light. Gravity is faster than the speed of light. Yet we don't even know what gravity is. Uh, you know, things we're taught, find out later on that wasn't true.
Right.
So I'm open to everything. I question everything, but I'm also open if I'm proven wrong or show another way. If I don't have cognitive dissonance, I'm open.
Same
You know?
here, man.
I'm open. I found out that there were only 13 original letters of the alphabet. That's why they have. If you look at the back of the dollar bill, you have the eagle has 13 arrows. He has 13 olive branches. There are 13 steps. Going up to the up to the White House. There were 13 states. That number 13 is very significant because it means 3 plus 1 equals 4. That's the number of God. If you look on the back of the dollar bill, you have the pyramid. That interestingly was not built from the ground up, but from the top down. If you look at the eye of Horus, but that eye, if you really blow it up, that's a reptilian eye, because you'll see the inner folds. Reptiles have an inner fold and outer fold. That's not a human eye. That's a reptilian eye, which means that through the money in the fourth dimension or fifth dimension or whatever dimension they're in, they're controlling us through the money. And that's like, what? And when you start understanding and seeing things like that, then wow. And this education.
Are these the potential creators of the human race?
I'm saying it
And the
is.
Illuminatis are watching us through TVs? Like what? Like I want to know. Like what is the theory here?
The eye,
Yeah.
they say it's the eye of Horus. Okay. But if you blow the eye up,
Yeah.
you'll see it's a reptilian eye.
Right.
The reptilian eye has an inner inner eyelid and an outer eyelid. Okay, we only have an outer eyelid. Okay, and it's a symbol, and they're controlling us through the medium, through the energy that money brings. Okay, just like TV, you program. We used to sit in the movie theater, and we get very thirsty, and they were subliminally flashing Coca-Cola signs or Pepsi-Cola signs or whatever signs they were flashing, subliminally.
Right.
And there are subliminal messages in movies. There's one movie, and then there's symbols inside the movie. The people that are really watching the movie subconsciously don't understand that there are things going on in that movie that's impacting their lives. And then later on, they find out, they get mad. But the purpose of many movies is to tell you what is the reality. For instance, there was a movie called The Westworld, starring Yul Brynner, and he had a prosthetic arm, but you couldn't tell it was prosthetic. You couldn't tell he was basically a humanoid. The story that they were telling you there is, hey, we got people walking around here that look human, but they're not human. And since then, we've seen people get bionic arms and legs, and who knows what's going on, But the movies are always a way to get a message across. Example, the movie Avatar was telling you the blue people represent the Aboriginal people of this earth, whoever they are. They're going to control it one day, as they did in the past. That's why James Cameron made a great movie. And people, and when people saw that movie, everybody, of course, rooted for the blue people because they were Aboriginal, they were tied into plants. But the bigger picture was, this world is about to change very quickly. And those who are in power are not going to be in power anymore. And he was telling that in a very symbolic way, And so when I watch movies, I want to know what's the message that they're really, what's the subliminal message? Not what's just showing you on the screen, what's going on symbolically.
Question for you. If there are these alien creatures that control us through money, or they came down to set us here to control us, for what purpose? What's the purpose? For us to populate the earth and to watch us, to entertain themselves, to see what happens maybe? Okay, hey, let's do a currency system and see what these, intelligent primates do with that. And it's the Truman Show,
right?
For them. I mean, that is possible. Okay, we have it is possible that, with all the stuff with the pyramids, right? I've seen documentaries about that, and it's a lot of weird shit, right? About the pyramids, how they're situated, the math behind it. It's impossible that we were able to do it, all that stuff. So it's possible that, we're just the Truman Show for them. Mm-hmm. They're watching us going, man, look at these motherfuckers go. Well, what are they doing? Dude, did you see? They invented an atomic bomb. It's crazy, right? It's possible.
Well, let me just throw this out here. 22 of the 45 presidents are all related, bloodline, okay? As you know, in Europe, the bloodlines were pure because they would have cousins marrying each other. They always kept it pure, to rule and
right?
to rule and to control.
We'll have to
people.
Fact check a lot, Josh. You can have a long week, man.
To rule and to rule over other people. It even goes back to ancient Egypt, where King Tut and Nefertiti were brother and sister,
right? And
they were basically married. So it was all about controlling the people through the royal dynasty. As a matter of fact, as a physician, you see a lot of genetic diseases in royal families because of the close intermingling. Okay, but they did it to control, through power. So we have that example here on Earth. If they're doing that here on Earth, the question is, was somebody else doing that to the people here on Earth? And I believe so. Why is 1% of the people running 99% of the world?
That's a good question.
It goes on right now.
Yeah.
And it's not because of economics and all that. It's something is controlling them to control the rest of us. I mean, why we let 1% control 99%? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, why do we let that happen?
You see?
That seems really counterintuitive.
I mean, they've convinced us, they convinced themselves, but somebody is pulling their strings, okay?
Giving them the
as above,
giving them the cheat codes.
There's an old saying
to the monopoly game.
There's an old ancient saying, as above, so below. Okay, which means they're doing it there and they're doing it here. Okay, and we unfortunately are the recipients of the crap going on. However, we are in the age of Aquarius, and I feel that things are changing. And we have to see it from.
Yeah, what do you see in our future, Dr. Chill?
Well, I see in our future that that the other non-earthly beings will come into our presence, and I think we will have to decide as a species we're going to collaborate, fight, give up, whatever.
Talking about aliens?
I prefer to say other beings, because
Are they already here, or they're gonna come here?
from what I've read in the documentaries that I watched, they are already here. They
Among
are already
us.
here. They are among us. Okay.
Huh? Are there a lot?
Well, apparently they're according to some things that I read on Gaia, GAIA. There are 6 or 7 different species. You got the Greys, the Nordics. You got I forget some of the other names, but apparently there are 4 or 5 species that the government already knows about. I understand in Area 51 they have spaceships that they have shot down, and they're trying to reverse engineering.
So this is like a Men in Black situation, or not that extreme.
Right. I really feel that we're not alone. I mean, this universe is too vast for us to be alone.
That probably makes sense to me.
Right.
Too many stars, too many potential life forms, plus a lot of, UFO sightings, although that doesn't mean they're aliens necessarily from other planets, but still, all of a sudden, all this information's coming out. I mean, if Joe Rogan's posting it, must be important, right? Like unexplained flying objects, technology that seems to be
but on the other hand,
thousands of years.
But on the other hand, playing the devil's advocate, it's like if you saw a man or woman walk through a wall, walk on water, fly, and they said something to you, you would probably believe them, and you probably like, can you show me how to do that? Can I be part of your program?
Right.
And a lot of people will do that, but then I think worldwide, since the cumulative IQ of mankind is about a second or third degree education, I think a lot of people would panic. They would panic. And I think that's why the government leaders dose things out the way they do. Because I don't think they can control what the masses would do.
Right. Hey. A lot of these things would surprise me, but not shock me. Like, I'm ready for anything. Honestly, I'm ready for the alien invasion, man. I'm ready to embrace. Like, I am very in an embracing kind of mindset. Like, you embrace the game, but then play it to to its limit.
Well, I told my kids,
whatever that is for you.
I told my kids, I'm curious if a UFO landed here. I'd be like, okay, I'll go. I don't have any problem. I mean, I've lived my life. I might miss, my family and my friends, but the thing about me is,
would you volunteer to go?
I would.
Like, okay, they landed. You'd be like, hey, wait, before you go, take me first.
Right.
Because you want to go. You want to know. You're curious.
I'm curious. I want to know as much as I can.
Interesting.
I seek knowledge and I seek wisdom.
What if there was a risk that you don't know what they're gonna maybe
Well, I'm not much of a risk taker, but in this case,
really?
I would be curious.
Aliens,
Yeah.
aliens
Yeah.
you would make an exception.
I would
for aliens.
I would.
That's
Especially if I got a good vibration. If I got if I got a vibration,
if they look like they're about to
if they're gonna harm me or kill me, I don't think so. But if they're open,
if they're like, you're like, you know what? Because you're imagining like they're all intelligent and translating,
right?
Their alien speech. Right. It could be some like crazy ass, tentacles, teeth,
right?
Just slime,
right?
The predator. They just want to eat.
Well, I understand from reading that some of these alien beings that smell so bad. And I'm really key on smell, man. If they be like, if you smell a fuck at it,
yeah, see, right?
Got to get away, man.
That's right. You never think of the
smell.
smell
Shit on you, man, because I'm not. I don't do well with funk. I
See,
just
because
don't.
they always look funky, but what if they smell funky?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. I'll be like, okay, I'm passing on you,
Like-
man.
Like, oh, they look similar to us, and then oh, whoa, what is that?
Yeah, yeah. That would be like, okay, I'm passing.
I'm good. I don't really need to know. What does it matter? Right? So there's limits.
Mm-hmm.
There's limits to your knowledge seeking.
The looks wouldn't bother me, but the smell,
right?
The smell would be like, okay.
Also the sound. Right?
Yeah.
That's where Dr. Jill draws the line. Motherfuckers, smell good. All right, take your shower
or don't smell bad.
Don't smell bad, right? Yeah, you're just saying if you're like a really bad alien smell, that may not work. I'm with you with.
I mean,
on
if
that,
they smell
man.
like sewer, I'm passing.
Like, how long is this trip? Like, I got.
Yeah.
You like it funky, but not in that way.
Right.
That's funny, man. Alien etiquette, man. No, but I'm totally curious. Like, if aliens come, I would definitely be like, dude, like if you already know they got, they're gonna overpower you anyways. Like, hey, man, I'll answer your questions. What do you need to know?
Right.
Show me I want to see what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like a totally different. Well, you Leonard's done a lot of imagining.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of experience from that.
Yeah. Is that a good segue into another world? So, man, that was awesome. So, go back to being a dad. How was your
Well,
dad
it's
experience?
interesting. My first two kids, I was, going to medical school, training. Then
How old were you when you had your first?
I was 24.
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time, being a student. We had our dad, I had my dad days, which used to be on a Saturday, Sunday, because, you're always studying and it's rough, right? And I was not able to spend the time that, regular dads do, because when you're a professional, you make a lot of sacrifices. My second set came, I spent more time with him because I was used to being a father, But again, the weekends were the days where we were able to, have fun and so on and so forth. And I had a third, situation where I had my youngest daughter. I actually raised her by myself, and I spent a lot of time with that daughter. I mean, we did everything together. I was not only a doctor, but a mother and a father. So I really kind of got into fatherhood greatly with my last daughter, because I was mother and father, so I had to, go to games, and I didn't have to, but I was more involved with her because, when you being mother and father, you have to be more involved with the child and still work a job. So I was like mother, father, and doctor,
Right.
As before, the other thing, I was a breadwinner. Did well, but didn't spend a lot of time because I didn't have the time, and you could say, well, you could have made the time. Yeah, but you got 5 kids. You got to spend a lot of time to make the money take care of 5 kids,
Right.
If it would be 1 kid, that'd be different. But when I had my last daughter, I was mother, father, and doctor. So I had to, I had to cook and, do laundry, all the things that before I had a partner do all that. Now I'm doing everything, I would go to, school events and games and sports and so on and so forth. I would become a photographer, I became a more full dad with my last child, Yep. And I loved it, It was beautiful,
So all the kids, you had different moms.
Yeah.
And how many times were you married?
I had 3 different moms,
And married each time or no?
I was married twice. And I don't have a good relationship with my first wife, but I have an excellent relationship with my second wife. Yep.
Yeah. Second time around is usually better because you get smarter.
Mm-hmm.
I had a divorce too. Mm-hmm. Very painful. 3 kids,
Yes.
Not
Well,
expect.
well, to me,
expect it,
the painful thing was the fact that it hurt the kids,
right.
and I
For me
felt
too.
like I should have gotten control, not control. I should have got custody of my first two kids. I know I would have done a much better job, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't meant to be, and I was going to fight it because why would I ruin my life and their lives just
Right. Same here, man.
fighting over my kids' custody and turning him into who knows what.
Mm-hmm. But you stayed close with all your kids?
Yes.
That's
yes.
awesome, man. I did too. Like, I think the key that I learned is if you make the effort and you have the intention behind it, then, then the kids are okay. It's when a parent or the kids feel abandoned that makes it harder.
Right. And I always put the kids first. I was never one to be, you using me and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So, you know what? I would say, let's do what's best for the kids. So if you think it's best that they stay with you and you don't want to deal with me and blah, blah, that's fine,
Yeah.
It takes maturity to get to that point. Because,
Right.
I mean, you want what's best, especially if you want what's best for the kids.
Yes.
And you see the
You
other
gotta
parent might be
sacrifice.
manipulating them or playing games. I don't have time for that,
That's amazing, man. Well, it was beautiful to see you with your family on Father's Day.
That was amazing.
And I didn't realize, honestly, until that day, like what a culmination that was for like a lot of things that I guess have been evolving in your life. Like
It was beautiful,
you
man.
becoming the Dr. Chill you are today.
Mhm.
Like fully embracing yourself, doing
Yeah, that-
music, doing music videos, art, like whatever,
Right.
your mind can create. You're like, fuck it, let's do it. Like,
Yeah, that Father's
that's
Day
a
was
good feeling.
really
yeah,
a culmination of what I would call the we movement, the we, because I've always believed in we. People know me, man. He'll share anything, man. He give the shirt off his back, man. He'll make you do well when he's not doing well. He's always about the we, And I've always believed in caring and sharing. That's always my thing. If you can't care and share, what's the purpose of you being here? Because you're not alone. I mean, we're all part of the great family, man. And if you see it that way, and that even means people around you who are assholes. They just haven't learned the lesson yet, And you just got to be open to be able to say one day they'll see the lesson that you're trying to, give out. I mean, I don't hunt people down and go, I'm gonna show you this lesson because I really believe that you teach by example.
right,
You don't brag about it, you just do it, and it works.
right.
I don't try to make anybody a believer in anything. I just do what I feel is the right thing.
Yeah. Well,
know?
the other thing I noticed, by the way, is like that you are a catalyst, like you've said, like for so many young artists too, right? And that's the other thing you do, like it's like creating this network,
Yeah.
lifting other people up. You know what I mean? Like you're doing what you want to do, but you're at the same time like lifting up other
Yeah,
people.
I don't know what it is, but I know I've run into a lot of people that just have run me down. Man, I gotta work with you. And they turn out like, man, they're really talented. I'm like, wow. I'm like, and I'm like, and I guess it's been the energy that I've always been about that has attracted people. But I wasn't aware of my energy, and I wasn't aware people have always told me, man, we love your voice. People told me all my life, man, we love your voice. You're so cool. I heard it all my life. I'm like, okay, what? And it dawned on me a few years ago when I did the Trip album with my daughter, Janaea Aiko. She said, one of my IG followers says, you know what? I love your voice. Why don't you make a album? Why not? It says, she says, basically, you got something, man. I go, really? Now, people know I love to talk, but I'm not a fan of my voice. And because she said that, and I tell her to this day, I said, you know what? If you hadn't mentioned that you thought I had a cool voice and I should do this, I might made a record or two, but I wouldn't have put out an album. I wouldn't have really gotten into it the way I want to, and, since then I put out 3 books and one CD about maybe 6 or 7 other songs. I'm working on an EP now, and I'm getting calls from everybody to be on their album, be on this, be on that. And, I've always had a hard time saying no to people. So I'm just embracing everything and everybody, man. I really am. It's just, and
So
you know.
this ride you've been on,
Mhm.
that I'm seeing you on. How long is this? Like a couple years? These last couple years?
It's
More?
been since 2018. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. We're gonna might hear some barking for
It's
a little
okay.
bit. Cannoli,
Hi, Cannoli.
go to the bathroom.
Yeah. But it's been
It's not your time.
it's been beautiful. I mean, I can't believe, you know, I can't believe what a beautiful ride has been, man. It's just like you know, seems like 3 years ago people just manifested in my life and wanted to just. I had a friend of mine that showed up at my Miyagi's annual birthday party. Says, "Man, I gotta know you. I want to introduce you to Jake's daddy. Blah blah blah. And people just 2 years ago just coming to my life in droves. Let's do this, let's do that. I said, but I don't know you. But they said, no, I know you don't know me, but your reputation from what we talk to other people, your reputation precedes you as a great or as a very good person. I said, okay, and I have a hard time utilizing the word no anyway. So I'm game. People want to do something, I'm open. I stay very open.
Wow, that was awesome, Dr. Chill. That was awesome, man. Sorry about the rude interruption by Cannoli. Cannoli, very unprofessional of you. It's all good though. You needed a break to get a snack. But yeah, man, like I was gonna ask, I guess, before we jump into just I guess what does the future hold, man? What do you want to do? Is there like I know you're kind of embracing the opportunities as they come, but is there something you got in your mind that you want to manifest? Dr. Chill. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I was telling you before we jump into I was asking you, like, is there something you want to manifest going forward? Because we're building this network of people. You've been working with a lot of young artists.
Yeah.
You're collaborating with You're collaborating with Rhythm. Like,
Right.
is there something you're trying to manifest? Like,
Yeah.
moving forward.
What I would like to manifest is a building that would house, artists of all kind of persuasions, singing, dancing, artwork, movie work, so on and so forth. And I would also, this is kind of weird, I would like to start a newer family that would include the birth of another awesome human being. I feel like there's a soul who's been calling out that wants to manifest on this earth, and I want to be the vehicle by which I want to be a co-creator again, and I really want to embrace
You heard
this
it here
idea
first.
of the we-ness.
So you want to have a kid, another one?
I want to have another
Wow.
child,
All right,
one or more,
or more. Okay.
and I want to manifest this idea of we're all one, the universality, singing to the baby before it's born, talking to the baby before it's born, giving them ideas before the baby's born, giving them a full dose of divinity. For everything that I've learned and taught, it's almost like it becoming full circle. And I know there's a soul out there waiting, to manifest, and I'm ready. Also, I have a friend of mine who wants to build a physical structure called the Metaphysical Wonderland, based on an album that I put out, where there'll be immense visuals and immense auditory things going on. It's like a Disneyland of music and a Disneyland of music and art. Why not?
That's dope. Sick. Knock him out the box, Rick. Knock him out, Rick. Knock him out the box.